I remember every time I'm working in a hospital and I'm there at the reception registering mothers for clinic, and I remember I've been told I won't be able to carry a pregnancy. And I ask myself, like, did God just put me here to be seeing mothers come bring their children to clinic and coming with their husbands? Will that ever happen for me? Like, the report of the doctor started getting into me a lot, and I started saying I can never carry a child. So it used to fill me with so much sadness that I can never have a child of my own. And I'm here in a clinic. Actually, those are one of the reasons I just didn't want to work in the health sector, because I felt it kept on reminding me all the time, I can never have a child. And I'm seeing mothers being so happy with their own children. Wamemleta clinic, wamekuja na their dads wamebeba watoto. Those things used to break me every single time. I go by the name Janet Wamaitha Ndugire. I'm so proud of the Ndugire part because it's my surname and I love my dad so much. So also him blessing me with his name is just by God's mercy. You know, these days people have parents who have neglected them and don't even want them to be called their own names. So it's a blessing that I have the surname. But naona tutaibadilisha kidogo siku hizi, sasa nitakuwa a different name very soon, and I'll be Janet Wamaitha Ochieng. So all I've known for the biggest part of my life, but I don't want to say biggest because there's a lot more that is coming ahead with new life and a beautiful journey of excellence. But so far, healing is my biggest miracle. There are moments I even say, sasa Mungu mimi ndakuweka kando, because I'm every time I'm just sick. You know, I used to be a church girl. Not used to, let me not say used to, but there's a time I nilichenga kidogo. But all my life I've been a believer. From the moment I was born, me hata tangu mamangu alikuwa ananibeba na pregnancy akienda prayer and fasting. So I believe I've always been a believer from the womb. And also through my teenage life, I've just been focused on serving God. But there's a time I felt, I think God is not real. Let me follow science now. And because you're not coming through. God was not coming through for that quite a long time in my life, because I fell sick in 2011. And from 2011, I never knew anything less but just pain. I never knew anything less with walking without being injected morphine, because baka diclofenac zikawacha kuwork, sijui nini. Now I was living by the masses of morphine, that every time I have to go to the hospital and be injected. And it's not even good to be injected that painkiller, but it reached a point, I have so much pain, even some certain medications, they are not helping me. Sasa ilikuwa, even walking, there is nothing I could have done without an injection. Na ikishaisha kwa mwili, ni ile unaomba baka mtu kwa barabara mahali ukae, because you can't walk, you can't do anything. That's the time I felt God has failed me. That years are passing by, I'm not in school. You know, people are studying, me, I'm not in school. My journey is just hospital surgeries. I'm losing weight, I'm looking bad. I felt I've lost hope, not just for healing, but hope for ever being even in marriage, hope for ever even being a mother, hope for life. I felt miserable until I neglected God. Nikasema mi God, by this sikuserve tena, siendi hata hiyo church. I'm not going, because it's not like I serve you for me to receive healing, but hata jamani hata uniondole pain kidogo ndo hata mi niweze kwenda church. I felt like God needed to be transactional with me kidogo, ile I'm serving you but pia mi hata niponyeshe hii pain. Yeah, that's the moment I felt God has neglected me. Because every time I'm praying, kwanza when I come from the mountain, I've prayed, I go to the hospital, I'm told I need another surgery. So I felt kabisa Mungu hanifanyi justice. One, it's a mistake of making God's blessing look like it's transactional, like when you serve Him, He's supposed to do something for you. And in short, He's not supposed to. That's not the bargain. We are just here to serve God. We are here to sing for Him, to praise Him in the reflection of our lives. I've been in a season where I felt I can't be lovable. My self-esteem is down. I feel my parents like I'm a burden to my parents because all they do is just take care of me. My mom, all she does is wake up, take care of me, wake up, take care of me. My dad is always looking for finances that will end up coming to my health. So also I felt I'm just becoming a burden. But the funny part of life is when you incline yourself with God, no matter how much you try to go a different route, inakufanya unakuwa so uncomfortable. So in as much as I was neglecting God by mouth and saying, mi msiniombe, mi hata hizo maombi sioni kama zina work, I stopped going to church, I stopped doing this and this. Kuna ile conviction tu kama we kabisa umedecide kusavia Mungu. Your conviction, it normally takes you back. It doesn't take you back because you are healed. It takes you back because there is like a small hope that people need to be having of God. That in regardless how things look like they are going astray, kuna ile hope unafaa kuweka of number one, not blocking your blessings by the power of the tongue. Yes, so I was raised in a very beautiful family that involved my mom, my dad, my big sister, myself, and my 2 little brothers. It was such a beautiful family because I used to get everything that I want. Me, I used to be paid pocket money by my dad even when I was young. And of course, all that pocket money was going to my nails and what, just to vitu wasichana. And I was being paid for trips. Those are the things I felt, life is really good and I come from a very beautiful family. But in my family also, it came with a little bit of wrangles in the sense of I was not experiencing peace when I was young. My parents used to argue here and there, and some fights could appear from time to time, but I didn't want that to define me. I wanted my story to be different. Of course, the chaos and the fights made me somehow not believe in marriage, because I felt if marriage looks like this, then I don't want it. But also it never made me lose hope in God, that God can do things differently at different times and for different people, because I could see other people's marriages somehow working. But when I relate with the one my parents have, I felt, I'm not so sure, but God utaniprovia mbele if I'll end up in marriage or not. But of course, as a kid, you don't think so much of marriage. You just think of happiness, playing games. And I was passionate about sports. So while I was in secondary school, I started playing football professionally. And I was playing for Mathare United. At that time, it used to be called Maisa. So I really loved football so much. My dad knew it, my parents, my mom knew it, and they were supporting me 100%. But later did I not know that my story was to change just from that passion that I had. But this is not to say that people should not follow their passion. It's just to say, even in everyday single part of our lives, we need to be open-minded enough to know that things can change, but it's not because God has neglected us. It's because there is a bigger part of us that is being molded towards inspiring other people. March date 28, remember I already joined football and I'm playing football professionally. And I really liked it so much. Even though my life, I have been battling with weight, so at that particular time I was so big. During one time, March date 28, I fell in a tournament that we were playing. I was pushed by a lady called Susan. I've never forgotten her name, not because I've never forgiven her for pushing me, but because she was such a dear friend to me, and you'll come to know why. So I was a very good player. I was playing number 5. I was a defender, and I loved it. I loved it so much. But this particular day, as we were playing, I got to be pushed, and because I was so big, I fell with my knees, and apparently my hip got affected. I did not know at that time on the pitch. So it's just getting out of the ground kidogo, umefanyiwa spray nini kidogo kidogo. And I wanted to go back and continue playing because it's not like I had pain at that time. But after I continued playing that night, that evening going back home, my parents were preparing to go to a wedding the following day. The following day was to be on a Saturday. And my parents were preparing to go for a wedding. But when I woke up that day, I was seeing my leg but not feeling it. I was in my room. Of course, I had my room. I told you I was having a beautiful, beautiful childhood. So I called my parents from their room. I was like, Mom, hebu kuja kidogo. I could see my leg, but I couldn't feel it. But because also we didn't think it was something too serious, my parents just went on ahead to the wedding, and I was left with my auntie to take care of me. But before even they arrived to the wedding, they were called by my auntie that, guess what, Janet is having a lot of pain. Janet is having a lot of pain because while I was left in the house, the leg started now somehow coming along. I'm feeling it, but it's coming with a lot of pain. So they had to come back even before they do their own things in the wedding. So my parents and my auntie, they took me to the nearest clinic. As usual, you don't think of anything big in life because si Mungu ametuambia tu pia tufikirie abundance. So pia abundance and speaking positivity for yourself, you're like, I'm healed in Jesus' name. As I was used to seeing my parents do. Oh, kona homa, you are healed in Jesus' name. And you take my eye and aloe vera and you are healed in Jesus' name. So me, I decided, hapo before afike from the wedding, there used to be aloe vera on the garden, so I applied some aloe vera and I'm just talking to myself, I'm healed in Jesus' name, because I've also been raised in church most part of my life. So I believe in God and I knew there's nothing God cannot heal. But I never knew that that fiery hope that I had was soon coming to an end. My parents came back, they took me to a local clinic, but the problem is, I don't know if should I call it misdiagnosis. I was told I have pneumonia. A few medications and painkillers being injected in, the pain is done. And I go back and I'm taken back to the house and my parents go to the wedding and continue with their own events. I come back to the house, I'm relaxed, I'm chilled. I'm like, okay, tomorrow also I have a game and what, because I really loved football so much. I was doing it also so well. I was performing really well at it that I was close now to being given my own team to be coaching. But that night, the pain ika-exceed sana. And after my parents came back from the wedding, they had to rush me to Kenyatta Hospital. I love Kenyatta Hospital so much because it's full of so many people who they are experts in everything that they do. So we knew at Kenyatta nothing could go wrong. My parents ni kunibeba na mgongo, huyu akichoka huyu ananibeba, huyu akichoka ananibeba, because my dad didn't have a car that time. So we are navigating with matatu at night, reaching to Kenyatta. I had a lot of pain, so we were treated even before paying and everything. Seeing the doctor immediately, I was sent for the following day to come back and go to the orthopedic clinic. The following day we went, I saw the orthopedic surgeon and it was written that I need an urgent surgery called biopsy. Biopsy was to check if my leg has cancer of the bone, TB of the bone, or anything else that could assist them in getting a good diagnosis. But we realized with that same day at Kenyatta, it's a good facility, but at that time, we didn't have so many other facilities that are experts in orthopedic and what by that time. So we saw with this booking, the doctor writes it's urgent, but unarushwa mbali sana. We saw Wamaitha is going to die in this whole process of bookings. Wacha tumpeleke hospitali ingine. With neighbors coming in and telling you, oh, you know, this hospital is not good, you go to this one. At that time, you listen to any report. And this is where people go wrong. Not listening to your conviction because it's the Holy Spirit speaking to you. You want to listen to what people are saying more, you know. And you will come to understand why I'm saying that at this particular time. So neighbors coming and at home and saying, mwende hii, we ended up changing the facility. By good luck, we went to the different facility. They did the biopsy there. They tested. I didn't have cancer. I didn't have TB. So they narrowed down, I have something called vascular necrosis. My leg had started dying. There is no blood circulation happening. That's why my leg had started turning black. That diagnosis broke me so much. It broke me down to zero. I felt I've totally failed in life, in the sense of I got myself into a passion that is going to harm me this much. My fellow colleagues are in school now, and for me it's just a journey of hospitals. I felt like I've really been defeated and I've really been crushed. Mostly I felt that after we've done the biopsy, and yes, nothing has been found, but still I'm being told I need another different surgery for now trying to work on the hip. And surgeries come with a lot of pain. And I was just very young and didn't know all these things about life. I saw my parents every time trying to navigate what they will do with me and all these bills that are coming up in the hospitals, and it's not like they had that money. I felt I'm giving up and I need to end my life. So there's a time I took all the medications that were in the house. My shosh used to be in our house while she was sick. So there were some medications that were left here and there in the house. So I went, locked myself in my room, took all the medications in the name of I want to ease the burden for my parents. At that time, I forgot that life is not about thinking who you are a burden to, because I've come to realize people bring different people in life for different seasons and reasons. My parents were very much able at that time in regards to them taking care of me, because God directed them in my path at that time. The aunties, the neighbors who were helping me at that particular season, even with ideas and what, God had helped them to be channeled in my life. So I tend to believe people should not feel as if they are burdens to anybody. Those people you feel you are a burden to, they are people who God have put them in your journey for them to impact your life at that particular time. But for me, I felt I've left my parents down. I've let them down. Every time it's medications, every time it's hospital, every time it's surgery, because I've been operated from 2011 all the way to 2023, surgeries every year. And me imagining even this doctor that is treating me is not giving me any hope in regards to my leg, I decided, let me end it. Taking the medications, I started having a very high speed. Yeah, my heart was beating so fast after I took the overdose. To some extent, I was trying to kill myself, but I ended up saving myself by calling my parents. We, kujeni sasa, kujeni. I was trying to kill myself, but roho yangu inapiga sana, nisaidieni. So, my parents came in, and I didn't know that was another journey of a different diagnosis. The way when the devil wants to andamana na wewe, anakuja. So being taken to the hospital at that particular day, I'm not just dealing with healing of these surgeries have already been done, but now I'm dealing with a different diagnosis that I get to receive in the hospital, that I'm bipolar disorder. I have bipolar disorder. But that narrowed down to so many different seasons of my life where I used to have very many highs, lows, until I never understood my personality. So that time being explained to what is bipolar disorder and why your moods are normally like this, and right now you're having an episode. That's why also it's giving you the, all the challenges you're going through, they are triggering that bipolar. Because bipolar is a mood disorder. So all these things you're going through, they are affecting your moods, so they are triggering the chemicals in your brain. That's why you're becoming suicidal. Hey, jamani, sasa nikakuwa, sasa hapa nimemalizika. Aya, which other diagnoses do you guys have? So I was now battling with medications for bipolar, medications that I was told I'm going to take for the rest of my life, because bipolar being a mood disorder, you're supposed to be on antidepressants to balance the moods. And the same season, we are still navigating the leg, we are still navigating surgeries, because surgeries never stopped.
And you're out of school.
And I'm out of school. So what was killing me so much is my peers, their lives are continuing so well. they are continuing with studies. All I ever did was study Form 1 only. Because after Form 1, remember I fell when I was getting into Form 2. So Form 1 is the only thing, that was my last class for a very long time. And even, remember, it has been surgery every year. So even the time people are doing the Form 4 exams, I'm still sick. I'm still on the journey of sickness, on the journey of surgeries, and even years have gone by until now people have been registered to do exams. So we spoke with my mom at that time and we decided, because you're not able to go to school every day, let's just register you for the Form 4 exams. You do the Form 4 exams even without studying anything. Sikuwa nimesoma anything. So well, I was after 4 years being registered. Remember, before even the exams, that 4 years was a very tough time, because it was a tough time of a family that is somehow chaotic in regards to quarrels and fights every time. Bipolar disorder, that you're still going through so many things, so your moods are totally affected every time. Sickness, the leg not improving in any way. So it's just a routine of you go back, you need another surgery, another surgery. So I was totally devastated. I was totally traumatized. I felt the world is not for me. Nothing is working for me. And I believe that's how many people feel in very different seasons of life, that life is not happening as you'd want to. Everything is crashing. Because at that time I felt there was nothing beautiful that was coming out of my life. People are just talking about me, because the more the surgeries, the more my leg was becoming short. So even as I walk, I'm limping. Every time now I'm walking with crutches. I'm not able to walk without the support of crutches. My friends, their lives are continuing and nothing is happening with me. I started feeling I can never be loved, because remember, that is the age that now you're on adolescence also. I started feeling I'm not lovable, I'm not healing, I have a mental disorder. My parents here are quarreling all the time, and I started feeling actually these quarrels is because of me. It started affecting my self-esteem. I was totally affected in the sense of I feel I'll never end up even I'll never have a partner in regards, at adolescence now you seeing other people, they have boyfriends and girlfriends. I start feeling now my world is crashing. The surgeries that was being done in Kenya, they were not working. Nothing was improving. They were trying to work on the head femur. All along from 2011 now, it was a journey of trying to work on the head femur. But we came to realize from the word go, that head femur, there was a doctor who had once told us that I need to be done total hip replacement as the first and only surgery. Because that first doctor that we saw at Kenyatta was able to rule down, I need a surgery and I need total hip replacement. But because now of neighbors coming to the house and giving you different opinions, and also my parents, I can't blame them. They don't know anything about medicines or nobody has ever been sick to such a magnitude that they are professionals. No. So every advice that was coming in, we were listening to every advice. And that's how we ended up slipping away. And at the end result, the surgery that I was done was total hip replacement. Yenye nilikuwa nimeambiwa ya kwanza tu nitahitaji ni total hip replacement. But sasa going to different facility, because this person is telling you to go here today, to go there today, I'm just ending up in facilities where everybody is just trying their own trial and error on how this leg could be worked out. So it was just surgeries. Then once I'm done the surgery, I get infection on my hip. The plate starts having, my leg starts having pus around the plate, so being removed. It was a journey of just doctors trying to navigate different surgeries that could assist on the head femur. So before we even go back to the exams, remember I told you my parents have been having quarrels and wrangles. And now there was this night that my dad became so chaotic. And when he tried to harm my mom with something, I decided to intervene in this chaos. So as a child, having my elder sister, I used to feel like my elder sister is so calm in regards to when my parents are fighting. It's like it's not affecting her that much, but for me, it really used to affect me so much. So there's this particular time, even as I'm dealing with all these surgeries and diagnoses and what, my parents had a very chaotic fight in the house. And that time, I decided to intervene because I don't want my mom to be beaten all the time. It was making me feel bad. So when I went to intervene, I don't want to say what my dad was using or he was trying to use to harm my mom, but it was something like a weapon. So as I was going to defend my mom from their chaos, from her being hit, my dad chased me away from home. So I'm a teenager. I don't have a job. I don't have anything for myself. I'm sick, walking with crutches, and I've been chased away from home because apparently I'm supporting my mom and not supporting my dad. But I was just trying to defend my mom at that particular time so that she can't be hit again. She has been hit so much and it is affecting me psychologically. And this is where parents go wrong, by the way, for me to say, whereby you want your children to develop, but actually, are you developing conducive environments for your children? This gave me a lot of a different perspective even in how I'm raising my own child, in the sense of children also go through their phases in life and they go through their own challenges in life. So I used to feel my parents are really being so chaotic every day that even me, I'm not allowed to be a child. And I have now to get into their fights and trying to assist them in trying to solve their own issues for them not to beat each other, because it was affecting me so much. So this is also an urge to parents that children are a blessing. And for generations to change, parents also have to change their own way of solving issues. Because the more they were arguing for me, I was feeling like they are arguing because of me. Because I'm not healing, I'm not what, they don't have money. And when they don't have money, kulikuwa na chaos mingi sana. Because it reached a point also my dad was not able to pay for my surgeries. You see? So my dad going through his own stress, my mom going through her own stress, I am going through my own stress, chaos in the house. I ended up being chased. So there's a night now they were fighting so much and I was chased at 2 a.m. I don't have a job, I don't have anywhere to stay. So nikaanza maisha peke yangu. Nikaenda, so that night vile nimechesiwa, I had looked for a clinic for me to work. Nakumbuka nimesha registiwa kufanya exams, so niko na hiyo certificate ya form 4. So I had looked for a clinic whereby, a facility where I can be working as a receptionist. So I was just taking those 2 small monies that I'm getting for me to be able to pay the room. So I left home, I was chased, I went and just rented, hizo zinaitwa, sahii mnaziita Airbnb, sahii ilikuwa inaitwa kama lodging. So sijaikaa kwa hii lodging, mimi ni mtoto. Of course nimemaliza form 4, yes, but mimi ni mtoto, sina experience. No. So I used to be paid from that clinic and I go pay my lodging 1,000 shillings every night. 1,000 shillings every day. But at least I felt my life sayo iko peaceful because I'm not in the wrangles and chaos of my parents. So I'm working with this in this hospital. I'm still sick, still working with crutches. No. So it became a very chaotic time in my life. And even in the process of me working in this clinic, because I was not employed permanently, it was locum, I started working also in a club because I need to survive. So you see how when parents do the mistake of neglecting themselves and not creating conducive ways on how to navigate with their quarrels, how it ends up affecting a child. Surgery after surgery from 2011. Bipolar diagnosis. I need medications for bipolar. I need morphine and injections for my leg for me to stay without a painkiller. For me to be able to function because I can't function without a painkiller. At home, parents and chaos, they don't know how to do conflict resolutions for themselves properly. So while I'm trying to defend my mom from being hit, I end up being chased away. Being chased away because of sins that are not my own, because nobody would stand seeing their mom being beaten and they don't do anything. So I utilized the money I was getting as locum from the local clinic and I rented out a lodging. These days people call it Airbnb. So that lodging ni place tu ilikuanga around home. Nikaenda wakaniambia mtu anaishingi hapa unalipanga 1000 every day. So mimi nikajua okay, huku nalipwa this much. Sawa, 1000 every day is not a problem for me. Kumbe, when you live in those lodging, it's more expensive because that's like I'm paying 30,000 shillings at rent. And at that time, I didn't know all those things. But because now the expenses of this lodging are becoming too much, I also need to eat, what. I started working in a club also. So the mistakes of my parents not being able to handle their resolutions properly, I'm just a young child navigating all this. And do you know this is how people end up even being prostitutes? And this is how people end up in drugs. This is how people end up totally irresponsible children, because you are not lost because of your own fault. You are lost because of the mistakes of your parents. I have surgeries way ahead that I need to pay for myself. I have imaging, injections and what, because I still need to keep up with the process of my healing ya mguu. And I also have medications for bipolar. I have rent. It's not like I even have any experience of saving. Importance of how also parents should start teaching children saving at a young age. Yeah, so life was very difficult. I now have to work in a club, and now in the club is advances from men that you actually just never even knew things like that happen in this life. Because me, I was always a church girl. If I'm not playing football, I'm in church or I'm in the house. And I was rarely in the house because I was running away from the chaos to be in church, Bible study, praise and worship. I would do anything in church just to be in church, wash the church. I was even an usher. Just anything that would keep me busy, nisikwe in the environment of the home. But while I was working in the club, remember I'm still going to church because I never stopped going to church, and I'm working in the club. Even my church members don't even know I work in a club. But up until the time my life became so, that was the time I felt totally defeated. Because I'm working in a club and I'm working with clutches. I'm a waitress. I need to serve you and carry the baskets of the alcohol and what. Serve someone, carry them while I'm in clutches. Being forced to wear those short clothes because we were told we need to wear those short clothes so that we can be appealing to these people that we are serving. So I'm totally introduced in a very bad world, a very bad world. And men start making advances on you. And there was a time now someone attempted to rape me. Where I was working, that club, it had a lodging also on top. Remember me, I'm staying close to home in a lodging, but I'm going all the way to town to work in a club where upstairs also there is a lodging. So there is a man who tried to take advantage of me after working there for a while. So it's like someone who had just monitored me, nini, and they came that particular time, they ordered a room and they needed their drinks to be taken to that room. And specifically me being told I need to take the drinks there, I didn't know I was heading to a very bad chapter of my life. Because hey, that moment is so painful and I remember. That moment is so painful because I was forced to take drinks. I was forced to take drinks to a room. And kumbe, this person is a customer I've been serving for a very long time. And I'm working with clutches, but this is someone who wants to take advantage of me. And I'm even sick, jamani. So when I remember that day, I just feel so bad. So I knock at the door and I I take the drinks to that person and they lock the room. They lock the room, they hide the key, and now they tell me, today I have to do this, this, and this to you. By God's luck, I felt like also this is why people should never give up, because God does not neglect people. Even as he says, for a mere moment I forsake you, but with great mercies I shall reveal myself to you again. In the harm that the enemy was trying to plan for me at that night, God revealed himself to me again, because he gave me the intelligence of these clutches that I'm using. I need to just hit this person kwanza. Let me first realize where he has hidden the key. Then I use a tactic for me to either hit him and I run, or just use any other creativity. So I tried to insist, oh, let me go get you a different drink down there, because I just needed the door to be open for me to excuse myself. But it didn't happen that way until I had to hit him with my clutch. And because I had already identified where the key is, I went and opened the door and ran away. But to be honest, that's the time that I lost hope in God completely. From that night, that's when, for me, I started convincing myself there is no God, because how can there be God when I've been chased from home because I was trying to defend my mom from being hit? I'm not living with my parents because they're not giving me a conducive environment for me to be able to live and be happy. I have all this pressure that I need to work for me to be able to provide for my sustainability, my leg, the things, the requirements I'm needed to do every month. My mind is failing me because I can't function without these antidepressants, because my moods will be so intolerable for anybody to be around me. And I'm suffering all this by myself, because there was no family member who was there to help me out, you know. And I didn't want also to go and start living with people, and I feel like I'm burdening them as I've been burdening my parents. Yeah, so at that time I lost hope completely, and I decided, okay, let me just live for the world now. Let me basi, stop praising God, stop going to church, because I'm also going to church and they're not realizing if I'm okay or not. So I always feel also with churches at some point they are failing. It's all about growing massive congregation, but not having a part of follow-up with every member of the church. Because some people go to church when they're so broken. Because that time I was close to being raped. I remember I took my bag and left, but I ran to church. But even in church, in all the pain that I'm going through, and I'm not judging anybody from the church, but I feel churches, in as much as they need to grow so much, there has to be really good follow-up with every individual. Because there was nobody to give me hope. There was nobody to speak life to me. I'm wishing someone to ask me, are you okay? How can I assist you? What can I do? Even someone to just come and listen to me or just talk to me. All my friends have run away. Remember, my friends, they are still continuing with their things in life and studies, further studies. Some people have already joined universities, and me, I haven't. So that was a very tough time of my life. I decided, because God is not working anymore and nothing, I knew God is not working anything for my life, because nothing was somehow maneuvering in an act of peace in my mind. Everybody was coming to me with chaos. The men in the clubs that I work, they want something for them to assist me. They want my body for them to assist me with something. So I knew I have to protect myself. Number one, it's either I resign working at the club and try to do something else, or work at the club and just go all out. All out in the sense of become like the rest of the people are doing. Sleep with those men, let them finance your life. But I remember, even in as much I was trying to convince myself that I can live this other life, it was not coming with peace for me. Even when my colleagues at work are introducing me, go to that man will sort you out, your life will be good. Even while we are having conversations with that man and it needs to end to a room, I wasn't able to do it. Something in me just kept on telling me, no, Janet, that is not you. That is not you. And that's the time I decided I have to quit. And I did quit, and I didn't even carry even my salary or anything. I felt the conviction in my heart. This is where I say parents are the people who majorly choose how their children will end up in life. Because remember the prayers my mom used to pray for me when I was young? Those prayers, I think, they are the ones who are playing a part in my life. That in as much as nimelelewa kwa kanisa, in as much as nitoke, na feel, unarudishwa. That conviction. So I decided to stop working in the club after another time. There's a man who committed suicide at the top. And that's the time I felt, if now it has reached to places even people are committing suicide in this place, I felt it's not a holy place, you know, because the person who we used to work together committed suicide. So I feel that was the sign that God was showing me nothing here is working. I was happy that person who committed suicide died because he was one of the people who wanted to take advantage of me. But I also realized even for them, they were battling their own stress and their own issues of life. That's why I normally believe people should offer grace to everybody, because some people who even come to try and take advantage of others is because they are so damaged also. They are so damaged also. The world, people are so damaged in the sense of we need to offer some grace to people. Someone could be coming to try and rape me, but they're not raping me because they are bad people. I thank God I escaped that part of the raping part. But kumbe this person also had their own issues that they are battling and tackling that was messing up also with their mind and their lives. And maybe they feel they have given up just like you, and nobody is offering grace to the other. So all these instances in my life was what was creating a different perspective. That's why I'm saying every journey of life is part of molding. I was being molded to be someone who I could realize everybody is going through different challenges, offering grace, being a listener, you know, offering, being empathetic, you understand? I only studied Form 1 only. And because the doctors did not want me to have any sense of movement, I just had to be registered for exams. The doctor doesn't want me to have movement. Yes, I have movement, but movement of trying to provide for myself in life. My fellow peers continuing with school was breaking me so much. And me being registered to do exams, I even thank my mom so much for that idea. Just register and do the exams, but I saw dust in that room. Like kwanza hizo za chemistry, watu wana mix, tumeenda kwa mahali lab, people are mixing things, are turning into different colors. Me, I don't know what they are mixing. Me, zangu hata naona nikimix zitatoa moto na zita burn this whole place, because there's nothing I really understand. I've never been to class after I was done with Form 1. So actually I was registered, but I just went there to write, I think, the story of my leg on those papers. But I thank God, because God is a God who does wonders and a God who does miracles. That I did my exams, I got a D minor. A D minor that it was even just by God's grace. But later in life, God assisted me and I was able to go back to school, do a certification, then do a diploma. At least I ended up in a university setup in ZTech, and I was able to do my 1, 2, 3 courses, and at KIPS also. I started with KIPS, I did storekeeping as a certificate so that it can boost my grade. Then I later started doing other different certifications, but it was just by God's grace. Picture this. Several surgeries on my leg happening for the hip. that there's no even hope that you're being given that you'll ever be okay. Doctors telling you are so young, but they're not so sure if you'll ever be able to carry a pregnancy, even when it reaches that time that you need to. Because it's going to weigh so much on that hip, and they don't think you will be able to. A bipolar diagnosis that you have to take antidepressants every month, and those antidepressants include injections that are quite costly. And the leg also, you need injections to satisfy you every time. X-rays, medications that you need to purchase. A family that is not functional, and I have to leave home because I was chased away because I was trying to defend my mom from being beaten. My peers continuing with school, me doing the Form 4 certification, having the challenge that also is affecting my self-esteem in the sense of I don't feel like I'm beautiful anymore. I'm walking with clutches every time. And I just have a D minor certificate with no future or nothing looking like there's something that will ever come out of my life. So nothing was working in my life, in short. That's what I'm trying to say. And this is why I like to encourage people in life that even when you feel so defeated, even when you feel you are in the pit of the pit, God has never neglected anybody. It's actually us who somehow neglect God in the sense of losing hope and cursing ourselves. Cursing ourselves because I was cursing myself every day. I'm not beautiful. I can never make it in life. What will ever amount to me? And those were the things that were building up and making me even to be suicidal. But in as much as I was even trying to commit suicide so many times in my life, God was making sure I'm not dying. I'm not dying. Imagine even taking heart medications and what. But God is just not allowing you to die. So every time someone is waking up is a time of realizing that there's hope for everybody. You know, when you're told so many negative things and reports from the hospital and about your life, and even kids and everybody, they are talking bad about you. Because I'm also walking while limping. My leg became short with 6 inches. So embarrassments, you're walking, you're limping. I felt yani kabisa kabisa Mungu ameni abandon. But I came to realize later that God always has a plan. God always has a purpose, because it is through my journey of healing that I got to meet my husband. It's through my journey of healing that God became to be mightily praised, that actually I can even have the blessing of a baby. It is through the journey of my leg that I've been able to tap so many blessings in my life because of that journey that came with pain. So at times God completes everything and he makes everything look as if he has abandoned you, but he has not. He's just aligning you towards the person you need to become, either in strength, either in mentality, either in capacity, but all of us are being molded differently because of different reasons of who we need to become. If there's something that normally hurts me the most is when I see the health sector trying to take advantage of patients in regards to their vulnerable times when they are sick. That is something I normally feel so bad about. Not to bash any facility in particular, but to speak as an awareness in the sense of when a patient comes to the hospital, they are coming with zero knowledge, with full trust that what the doctor says is what is right. And later did I come to realize that I was subjected to so many surgeries of my leg, whereby the only surgery I just needed from the word go was total hip replacement. The first doctor that we saw recommended that I need just total hip replacement, and that's the only surgery I will need. But the lack of knowledge of trying to save, that's why quality is better. I love going for quality instead of something cheap. In the name of trying to save, because this doctor, let's say he was charging total hip replacement 300,000. And at that time we felt 300,000 is a lot of money. Let's go to a different facility and see if they can be cheaper. But that aspect of looking for cheap came with so many other surgeries because all these were backfiring. Trials and error. It was like my leg was being used for trial and error, because I lost count until I like to say I've been done 7+ surgeries. Because clearly, even me, I don't know. I lost count now. But what was paining me so much also, even because as I'm growing up with knowledge, I'm growing up with understanding, and I'm growing up with trying to understand exactly what it is I'm tackling or I'm going through. And I ended up understanding that I was taken advantage of, in the sense of there was a solution towards what my leg needed, but I was being subjected to a lot of different more surgeries that at the end of the day, they never worked out. Those are surgeries that made me lose a lot of time in my life, a lot of a season and a stage in my life that I never went through, and a lot of always feeling defeated. After we did so many surgeries in Kenya, I remember at Kenyatta we were transferred, we were sent to go to India now for me to do the total hip replacement in India. There's a doctor at Kenyatta who, referred me to India. So when I went to India, I went with the notion, this is where we should never forget God, because my only hope was on the doctors. So nakumbuka sasa mimi niliachana na Mungu nikaona Mungu hawak. So I used to see the doctors as the gods. You know, huyu ndo God wangu, huyu ndo ataniponya. So my only hope and focus was the doctors. Little did I know, when you focus your hope on the doctors, you will never receive your healing. Because they are just a channel from God to bring healing towards you. So you should always focus on the source. And that's where I kept on failing all the time. So it affected me all the time when we are going to the hospital and the doctor tells me another surgery is needed. I feel like they are failing me. You understand? Because I've made them look like the God. Instead of channeling my strength from God and telling God, please, direct even this person, give them knowledge, understanding, remove me from any path of a doctor who just wants to get money out of me and not, work on my healing. But also not judging them so much. I wouldn't know if they were actually just trying, other different methods, not for money, but for me to get healed. You understand? So I wouldn't know 100%. But in 2018, my dad, we reconciled and I went back home, and my parents were able to do a fundraising, and I ended up in India for surgery. In India, we went with my mom and the surgery was done, total hip replacement. But apparently, even when we came back to Kenya, that surgery did not work out. And the last surgery that I was done was in 2023, and it was just done in Kenya. So also, telling God to align you with the right doctors. It's not a matter of traveling to country. It's a matter of God aligning you to the doctor that, He wants you to be treated with. And also connecting, that is the time I had started connecting my source back to God and telling God, realign me, send me the right doctor. Because after I was operated in Kenya, 2023, that's the time I received my healing. But you see, the healing did not come from the doctor, because it would have come from any other doctor, because I was running away from Kenya because there is no good doctors. But you see, I ended up being treated and healing and getting healed from just a doctor in Kenya. So I came to learn that healing comes from God. Our source of everything should be God. Our source for provision should be God. Our source for aligning everything in our lives should be God. Because have you ever known that everybody in this world is just for we are in this world, but we are not for each other. Everybody is for their own self. That's something I came to realize. We are not even for our parents. We are not even for our husbands or our children, because even for them, there is no life we can give them. There is no life we can give to anybody. So we are just in this life for ourselves. Ourselves, I say that in the essence of, I've been placed on this earth for my own self to fulfill my own purpose. That's why even when you get married to anybody or to someone, you're supposed to still not lose your sense of purpose of why you've been created. This person is supposed to come with their purpose, and you come with your purpose, and you realign the purpose towards what God has even connected you together with for. I am not in this life for my child, because in as much as I love my child as the biggest blessing on this earth, I am not here for him. I am here for my own individual. They have their own purpose. They have their own lives in the sense of what and why they've been created. For me, it's just to align my purpose with my child's purpose, from God being the source and me being able to play a part in the purpose of their lives while they play a part in the purpose of my life. So if you lose the sense of purpose of your life, you're totally done. You're totally done. And that's how I used to live my life, always focusing on, oh, my dad is the only help in this universe. Because I love my dad so much. And also I ended up forgiving him in regards to causing chaos and wrangles, because later in life I came to understand he's just a man who also does not have a manual. You understand? So I came also to understand that my dad and my mom, they were also just navigating their own purpose of life, probably not involving God so much into it. You understand? So they got to idolize themselves so much. If maybe God was put in between, he would have given them a different sense of how to help us even as children maneuver without chaos and wrangles. But I came to realize I'm my own individual, I'm my own self. Everybody I meet in my life, they are their own individual and their own self. So you always have to be in the line and the path of your purpose and making God be the source. Whether you are sick, the doctors are not your solution. The medications are not your solution. The solution that you need to connect yourself with is God. Because only through him you can be healed. Only through him things can be changed. Only through him stories can turn around to testimonies. So that's something that I came to learn. That I've gone to India, it's not even about the country you've gone for treatment. It's about just God aligning you and you being patient enough to wait for his time. Because when his time reaches, nothing goes wrong. Imagine, I've come from India, surgery, I've come back to Kenya and it has still failed. And at one point as I was going to work, because God blessed me even in the line of the treatments, and I was able to be hired permanent in the hospital, not the particular clinic that I used to work, but now a different hospital, even a bigger one. But one day when I was going to work, I fell. I fell on the bathroom, and I fell with just the side of the leg that had been operated after India. I fell in 2023. Yani ushaona venye bafu inakuanga slippery. We love beautiful and modern houses, but that modern house was what was used to connect me to my purpose and my destiny. But it came with pain. So this is why I always say some pain are not there to finish us. People shouldn't feel like certain pains in life have come to finish us. Some certain pains have come to align you to your purpose. Very beautiful. In the morning, I wake up, preparing, head to the shower, and I've put a gospel song to play on the background. But while I was showering, nika sleep kwa bafu. You see the way you play YouTube, gospel mix is playing. A gospel, I wanted to remember the name of the song. A gospel music is playing, and when you're in the bathroom, you feel, imeleta ads. Acha nitoke mbio mbio, nishike remote, skip ads. I really want to hear this worship song. Jesus paid it all. That was the song that was playing. So I'm in the bathroom, I'm showering, and that Jesus paid it all music is playing. Tena inaanza ad. No, that's my favorite song. Ebu nitoke kwa bafu kidogo nika skip ad. Nikienda kutaka kwa bafu, I slipped. And I fell with the same leg that had not even healed. Guess what? That was the beginning of a beautiful journey. A beautiful journey that started with pain. That's why I always say, don't give up even when you're going through no matter what kind of pain. Some pains are there to bring us to our purpose and our destinations and our blessings. It's not another race I was starting of pain. It was a race of beauty that I was starting, but it was starting through pain. I fell. I've locked the house. Nimevunjika sasa. You remember I had a plate? Sasa hiyo plate imevunja baka mguu sasa, hiyo bone sasa imevunja sasa proper. Nimeanguka na the plate has now broken even more bones. Now we have an issue from the knee all the way to the hip. But guess what? Of course, I crawled. It was a very painful time, but I crawled all the way to where my phone is, and I called the soldier. Kaambia soldier, Simon, that soldier was called Simon. Simon, nimeanguka, kuja unisaidie unifungulie mlango. But kumbe he had already left shift ya usiku. So he called a neighbor. And the neighbors were just knocking on my door, trying to beg me, you can do it, encouraging me that, you know, now nimevunjika sasa completely. I can't even walk. Now I'm crawling. Na crawl tu ndo nifikie kufungua mlango. But hiyo ndo mguu bado tulikuwa tumetoka surgery. Haijapona. Na hiyo ndo mguu tu bado ndo imeumia. You see why at times you feel you need to ask God some questions. But we cannot question God. We can only question him in regards to bring more clarity, but not questioning like you are complaining. Because he has aligned everything for you. If you start complaining, you are cursing yourself. You are cursing your own life. Because you are complaining to the person who has allowed for it to happen. God knows everything about our lives. He knows the end. He knows the beginning. He knows how everything has been planned out. But after I was able to open the door and I was taken, remember I used to work in a hospital now. So they called my mom also. My mom came and I was being rushed now to the hospital that I was working, Komarok Modern, Utawala branch. So very fast, I like that hospital so much. It's not marketing. It's because I've worked there. I know they are good. So me going there as a staff, nini niko na uchungu, ni ma x-ray manini, then I needed a very good orthopedic surgeon. But guess who was to connect me with the orthopedic surgeon? The person who is now my husband. So let me take you back a bit. That previous day, my mom had come to visit. I had shifted in a very beautiful modern house, but I needed my mom to come and somehow sanctify the house for me. You know, she's very prayerful, so I needed her to come and just bless my house with prayers. I like to pray for houses anytime I get into them. So as my mom came that previous day to visit, once she went to ease herself kidogo in the bathroom, in the washroom. And as she was coming out of it was bathroom stroke washroom. As she was coming out, she stood where I just fell the following day. And she stood there and said, hey Janet, hapa utakuja kuanguka hapa. Hey, hapa pako slippery sana, hapa ni kama utakuja kuvunjika mguu. We didn't cancel, we didn't think it's something big that she has said. And that same day that she came, that previous day, when she came to pray for my house and everything. But I remember telling her one thing, Mom, I want you to pray for me, to get a husband, pray for me to have healing once and for all, pray for my leg to be lengthened a bit too. Niache kulimp sana mpaka watoto wananichekelea huko nje. I used to limp natembea hivi. Baka children on the road ask me, kwa nini unatembea hivyo auntie? It used to pain me so much. The kids are so innocent, but me it used to pain me so much because it used to affect my self-esteem. So as my mom was leaving, I told her, don't just cover this house with the blood of Jesus, but pray for me to get a husband. Pray for my leg to heal once and for all. Pray for my leg to be lengthened a bit. You see? And also pray for me to get another different job. At that time, I just wanted to change from the health sector. I felt I've worked in the health sector for quite a long time, and I felt I needed a different thing to challenge my mind. I like challenging my mind. I like fresh things, new things. I can't do a routine for long. I like making things somehow, doing things differently in different times. Yes, that's the biggest challenge of me. I don't like even to hear same things over and over. I like people who are challenging my mind. I like activities that are challenging my mind. So I had felt I've worked there for a long time. I need change. My mom prayed and she left. Kumbe the following day, the same spot. Remember, I've had music. I'm listening to Jesus Paid It All, the worship song. Ads have started playing. I want to get out of the bathroom to go and skip the ad. And I fell the exact same spot my mom said I will fall. But after she prayed, she told me, when she was leaving, she told me something. Take this message. There is a message I've been forwarded by a friend of mine that there is a hospital that you need to call. They are doing surgeries with NHIF. Hey, and I was so excited. Umeombea maneno ya mguu sahi na rafiki yako alikuwa amekutumia posta ya inaweza fanyiwa surgery na NHIF, because I didn't have any money. Hizo mapesa kubwa kubwa za all these surgeries, sijui 400,000, sijui what. So very fast after she left, I called that number. I'm like, hello, habari zenu. I'm seeing here you're doing surgeries with NHIF. Can I see a doctor? Can I be connected to the surgeon? And they told me, wait a minute, someone is going to contact you. Our marketing lead is going to contact you. He, nikagoja huyu marketing lead hanipigi hiyo siku. Huyu marketing lead kwani shida ni gani? Ako busy na venye mimi hapa nahitaji surgery. So thank God, the marketing lead called me the following day. But sasa the following day, my mom came like a day, ndo nikapiga the next day, ndo sasa nikaanguka the next day. So the marketing lead, after I called, akanambia, yes, we are doing surgeries in NHIF. You need to do this, this, and this. I'll connect you with this and this doctor. But guess what? Sinakumbuka hiyo siku yenye nimeanguka. Bado sikuwa nimeconnectiwa to this orthopedic. Marketing lead alikuwa na take time mingi sana ajue ni bibi yake anagojea ashughulikie. Sasa, after nimeanguka, my mom now called. I remember when people came to the house and I called this marketing lead. That time that nimeanguka. Neighbors are in the house. They've called people from the hospitals around area home kwanza before watu wa mali nilikuwa na wako wafike. So they have injected me some painkillers, so nimeanza ku calm down. And I called this marketing lead while crying. Nambia, guy, nimeanguka. Hey, hololololo. Very many things. Just to see if he can assist me very fast with this surgery or what. And the conversation with him continued with my mom, because of course, pain ikarudi, nini, being taken to the ambulance to be taken to Komarok Modern. So the conversation continued with my mom and the marketing lead for me to be connected to this orthopedic. So after we went to the hospital, I was working, nimepelekwa na ambulance hapo, wamenichukua kwa nyumba, nimedungwa mashindano, nini, x-rays, nini. So I now need this ambulance of where I work to take me to this hospital that I'm supposed to see this orthopedic I've been connected to by the marketing lead. So si nimepelekwa huko, nimeona daktari, I need to be admitted, operated very fast. But huyo marketing lead anafaa kutuambia by the alikuja hospitali kufanya nini hiyo siku na yeye ni wa marketing na yeye si daktari ananitibu. He came to see me that time I was in the hospital. Nimeanguka leo, nimefanywa x-rays na kila kitu. I've been taken to the hospital where I need surgery. And apparently the marketing lead comes to see me also in the hospital. And when he enters, I felt like sikuwa naona vizuri, nimedungwa mashindano mingi. So nilikuwa nimedungwa so many injections, morphine, what. So my mind was so occupied. But I was seeing but blurry. But meanwhile, I'm there in the bed, I see this Rick Ross coming in because he had beers huku kwote. He, nikajiuza, hata dawa ni kama zimeisha kwa kichwa. And we started having a conversation, nini. From that day, he never left. He was coming to the hospital to see me every single day. And he was not working in that particular hospital that he connected me with the orthopedic. He was working on a different one. But tell me why he used to come from the hospital he was working in, coming to see me every single day. Umekuja kuassess mgonjwa kama amelipa ama nini hatujadischargiwa. Yeah, so through the leg, I got to find love. Not just love, but my husband. You remember that prayer? My mom prayed for her husband. Yes, she said nitaanguka, we didn't cancel. Kumbe God did not want that to be cancelled because he knew I'm going to fall tomorrow. But through falling and the pain, I got to get my husband. I got to be operated, and through that surgeon, through that orthopedic surgeon, he was so good because I had not even told him. Remember, I had not even done consultation at prior. I didn't know I was going to fall. So he noticed my leg was short. So during the surgery, he tried to align it. So from 6 inches, now we are just 1 inch short. You see how that doctor did wonders. So alieka a plate ndefu. When he was putting the plate, there is something he did with the plate to lengthen the leg a bit. My leg got to be lengthened. I got my husband. My leg got to be lengthened. I got healing of the leg for the first time since 2011. That's why I'm saying healing comes from God, not doctors. So our belief should not be on the doctors, should be from the source. After traveling all around the world, I ended up healing just in Kenya. And I ended up meeting all these people. While my husband, marketing lead, alikuwa anakuja kuniona daily, akafamiliarize. But now he knew something that, he knew there was a hiccup somewhere for us not being together. He was a Muslim at that time. So he was not telling me all that while we were in the hospital because he knew he would be dismissed with immediate effect. But it's not a bad thing. Muslims are good. It's just my own preference. So after we are out of the hospital, that's the time he comes and open up to me that, you know what, there's something I want to tell you. I know itakuwa issue kwako, but I just have to say it. I'm a Muslim, blah, 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 blah. Nikamwambia, eka hapo, piga pause. Sasa, I think you should continue with your life. I wish you all the best. But because my mom was coming to see me at home the following day, I asked my mom, Mom, ule Austin anataka hivi na hivi, anataka nikuwe na yeye na nini, but yeye ni Muslim. Najua sasa hiyo ni impossible. And my mom told me something, Janet, at times you are brought to people's lives for you to bring an impact. And being a Christian doesn't mean you are perfect. So also being a Muslim doesn't mean they are not perfect. Sasa tena nikamwambia sasa sijapiga pause. Nimeona acha tu nikue wako basi I accept. But for me, I was accepting with 50-50. I knew you have to, before things are made official, kabisa, you will still at some point need to be a Christian. But I never told him. I used to tell God. So I used to pray a lot. I used to fast. I used to pray. After months, I saw, I love going to marriage conferences so much. So after a while, I saw online, there's a marriage conference happening at Ruach Tabernacle. I've never even been to that church, but because we live around Kiambu Road, I said, acha niambie Austin, tuende marriage conference. We can learn 1 or 2, 3. There is no day you go to a marriage conference and you don't learn something. And I like that thing of spicing up relationships by listening to different things about marriage, dating. Yeah, so I decided to tell him. And I didn't even tell him it's going to be in a church. He will know when we reach there. Because of course he will refuse when I tell him to go kwa nyumba. So tukifika anakuwa like, guy, we are in a church. It's his first day in church and he feels it's so noisy ati tukae nyuma. No, I said tunakaa mbele. Ndio upako ikiangushwa inakufikia direct. So we went to church. The marriage counseling was really nice the whole day nini. But guess what? That's why pray not looking forward to it happens sangapi, it happened lini. Just tell God, you know I need this thing at this particular time. You know I need this at this particular season. You know, let God just do things for you. Don't even put timelines for God. So me, I had not even put timelines for God, but I had told God one thing. Before we have a baby, Austin needs to be saved. Because we are not going to have a child and anaenda huku na wengine anaenda huku na wengine. We need to be going to church to pray to one God. Hey, sasa kufika akasema, oh, it's so noisy, this church, the speakers are so loud, nini. But after we got out of church, after the conference happened and everything, going back home, tulikuwa kwa matatu, he told me one thing. Hey, nimefeel hiyo kanisa imekuwa impactful. I think we should join that church. That's when I realized God works on things slowly by slowly. There is nothing that is not working for your life. Everything is working. It's just, God has just not given you the mirror to see how it's working out. But it is working. I was praying for many months. But you see, God knew the time. He knew He's also working on that other person. Kumbe He was preparing his heart, slowly by slowly. Until now, the conviction came. Akasema, we need to start going to that church. Let me tell you, on Sunday we went to that church. And he stood by himself going up on mbele to receive salvation. Niliona akisimama hivi, nikashindwa, kwani watu wanasimama nini? Pastor ukweli amesema the people want to give their life to Christ. Na yeye amejisimama, hey, wewe unampeleka mpaka kwa altar. Pastor, I need to be a witness. I was so happy. I even took him to the altar myself. As he changed mind, ndo akijaribu kurudi. Akijaribu kurudi, nimpush hapo mbele zaidi. Do you know he went by his own nini? He stood up by himself. He went to receive salvation by himself. And I stood behind him to be a witness. Mpaka pastor akasema, hey, you have decided to witness? Hey, I have decided. So you see how God aligns things. I've lived most part of my life being sick, but that did not mean that's my ending. I've lived most part of my life walking with clutches, but God knew my hands needed a time now to be freed up. For me to be shaking hands of people who I'm impacting. For me to shake hands of the lives that God has allowed me to impact. So through him getting salvation, he joined Bible study by his own means. Yeye mwenyewe akakuja tu home, tuna join Bible study, nimeongea na pastor, tunaanza Bible study. Yeye mpaka ndo ananikumbusha leo ni siku ya class ya Bible study, and I said, good. God takes time on some things. Some things are not now. Some things it's a process, because I was being worked on, he was being worked on. Our child alikuwa anakuwa worked on, anaformiwa pia yeye pole. And all, at the end of it all, it's a beautiful story. A beautiful story that, yes, he ended up receiving salvation before we got baby. The Sunday ali received salvation hivi. Kumbe the next Sunday we went pregnant and we didn't know. We ended up in the church. After I received salvation this Sunday, the next Sunday, we used to talk of, oh, we want to have a baby at this time. I knew I want to have a baby when I'm 29. I knew all along. So he was ready from a long time, but me, I just kept on, kwambia koja kidogo tufike age. I will be very ready in my mind also. So when we got to 29, I got to 29 and I'm asking myself, God, by the way, anahitaji kuokoka me, I need to have a child. Kumbe God was doing something. The Sunday he went to church like this. That other Sunday, Monday ndo tulifanya the act of blessing, looking now for this child. The next Sunday we went back to church when we were pregnant. We were so excited, mostly me, I was so excited, until we started clinic with 4 weeks. Tukaambiwa mtoto ni mdogo sana, rudini nyumbani, hata sahi hatuwezi muona. Rudini nyumbani, akikuwa mkubwa, you'll come and start clinic. I was so excited because God had done it. And now we were on a journey of, will I be able to carry this pregnancy? I've been told many reports that, oh, I'll not be able to carry this pregnancy. God enabled me. Yes, it was having a bit of difficulty and what, but God enabled me. And we delivered a healthy baby boy. So you see, all this journey from 2011, if you were to give up on God, it would have been a very big mistake. So yes, there's a time for me, I did put God aside. But we don't put God aside. It's pride that we put ahead of us. So we need to live lives of pulling down our pride and realizing that God has a good purpose and a plan for our lives. And our story, all of us, is for it to end up successful with a cheerful heart and with testimony. So whether someone is sick, whether someone is looking for a child and they're not getting, whether someone has diagnosis that even you don't understand where they're coming from, for me, my life is just a story that, yes, it can seem it has prolonged for quite a long time, but He has not forgotten you and you are not defeated. There is always a success story at the end. During the time I was being treated my leg, I couldn't even be able to squat and ease myself. Even when I'm going to the toilet, I had to remove all my clothes, all of them. I lie down. Imagine me in town in a public toilet and I'm not able to squat or bend. To ease myself, I have to remove every cloth, sit on the ground, and it's even a public toilet, sit down on the ground for me to be able to ease myself. Until you get infections back to back. Because you're not always in the house for you to ease yourself in the house. Most of the time you find yourself, you're in town, you're where, and you're seated down on those toilets, and many people have used those toilets, so you end up treating infections back to back. A phase that used to make me so emotional that I was not born like this. Why do I have to suffer like this, that I even have to remove all my clothes, sit down on the ground? At times those floors are so slippery because of just urine. That used to make me feel so bad. It used to make me feel so bad seeing that I'm not just going down to ease myself, I have to sit totally on the ground. But I'm also working in a club where I also need to be on the ground, and so many things are happening in those toilets. Having episodes of bipolar also, that mood disorder is a curve. And at times you just want to isolate yourself, but you need to go to work. People not understanding even the things you go through in your mind. And at times they just talk anything. Like, hey, Janet, today you are happy, tomorrow you're not happy, today you are like this, tomorrow you're not like this. But it's just because I've not even been able to afford the medications I need to stabilize the chemicals in my brain. Me being chased from home, living in a lodging where so many things are happening there, and it's exposing me to a world I had not known. And I feel it's so overwhelming for my mind. Later, renting a single room, because at least now someone advised me, you're paying 30,000 rent. Do you know that? I had not known that. Being taken to a single room, and now at least I'm paying 4,000 shillings, but I don't even have anything in that house. I'm sleeping daily on the floor. Nalala daily kwa simiti on one sweater tu moja ndo naekelea. I don't even have a blanket. I don't even have curtains. I'm sleeping on the floor. Asking myself, is it me who has failed? Is it my parents who have failed me? Is it God who is failing me? My self-esteem being zero. looking other people just feeling beautiful, looking beautiful, but I feel like I'm walking dead every single day. At times going for days without eating because you've worked, the payment has been delayed. You have the mindset of you are a burden to people, so you don't even want to ask for anything. You sleep like that. Sleeping like that means it will be a problem going to the hospital tomorrow to work. Because if I don't have money for my meals, do I even have fare? Having friends in the club who are doing what is called hooking, and now they want to introduce you to that life. You want to do it because you want to have money like them, but your conviction is not even allowing you to do it. And you wonder, what is the niko na nini, nimeandikiana nini na huyo Mungu, I'm not able to do these things. And that time of someone attempting to rape me, it broke me. Moments where I'm limping so much that everybody on the road is giving me sympathy votes. They're not giving me a seat on the car because they would want to give me a seat, but because, huyu ni mgonjwa. Always being labeled mgonjwa, and until now, there is nothing I hate so much like that word mgonjwa. Even when I go to see someone who is sick, I don't even say story na mgonjwa. Nobody is mgonjwa. We are healed. By the stripes of Jesus, all of us are healed. It's just a season. Those things were frustrating me so much. That time, my dad is going through so much also for his life. A parent who also is just, his businesses are not working. His child needs a lot of medical care. They don't have money to pay for surgeries. I'm in pain. It used to hurt me so much, those seasons. It used to hurt me so much. But these days, I look at that season of my parents and I don't even blame them anymore. And these days, I actually feel, I wish I never blamed my parents, but I can, of course, I've forgiven myself for that, but I wish I never blamed my parents, because we can throw the blame game to parents all the time, but actually I came to realize even them, they were going through a very hard time. I just feel also my parents were going through a very difficult time, and it's not like they were even quarreling because they didn't love each other. It was just so much pressure on their minds. I realized this after I went through some counseling sessions, because there's a time I just decided I want to heal. I want to heal from everything, from being labeled mgonjwa, being labeled all these things. I want to heal. Because also in life, for you to be able to live a life full of grace, you need to heal. So that time, I remember there was a time I enrolled myself in a counseling session just to air out and heal. But that's the time I came to realize it's not like my parents were bad. And it's not like they were quarreling also because they didn't love each other or they didn't love us as children. They were just also very much overwhelmed. Because I came to understand, like, my dad didn't even have an 8 to 5 job or a job where he's expecting payment somewhere. So at times it's not like he didn't even want to pay for my surgeries. He just did not even have that money. Yeah, so that's why these days I live a life of not even blaming people. That person did not help me with this, that person did not help me with this. It's because at times people just don't have that capacity at that particular time. And they're also overwhelmed in their minds that they're not able to help you. So in as much as they're not airing it out to you, because they couldn't have come and tell me, no, we don't have pesa kukulipia and what, but the stress could pile up in their minds until anything about them, it just becomes a chaos. I feel also the challenges I've gone through have made me to be more grateful these days. And I thank God that I went through all that I went through, because I'm totally a different person and a good person because of those challenges. Because if I didn't go through those things, I wouldn't be this Janet that I am today. I wouldn't even believe in God with the magnitude that I do today. But today I can stand here and say confidently, there is a God. There is a God in heaven. There is a God who listens. There is a God who answers. There is a God who sees. I remember every time I'm working in a hospital and I'm there at the reception registering mothers for clinic. And I remember I've been told I won't be able to carry a pregnancy. And I ask myself, like, did God just put me here to be seeing mothers come bring their children to clinic and coming with their husbands? Will that ever happen for me? Like, the report of the doctor started getting into me a lot, and I started saying I can never carry a child. So it used to fill me with so much sadness that I can never have a child of my own. And I'm here in a clinic. Actually, those are one of the reasons I just didn't want to work in the health sector, because I felt it kept on reminding me all the time, I can never have a child. And I'm seeing mothers being so happy with their own children. Wamemleta clinic, wamekuja na their dads wamebeba watoto. Those things used to break me every single time. So I was using, I'm a workaholic. I can work. I work all the time. I don't get tired of working. That's the problem. So I used to even go to work. I'm supposed to be on day shift, but I will go even night shift and still be there the following day. I'm not resting until the manager went and checked on the CCTV and was like, Janet, do you go home? I see you here day and night. And I was getting promotions back to back. Not because actually I was perfect at my job. I am just a workaholic. I'm masking myself to work just to forget all these many things that are happening to me. And because also I'm a perfectionist, kazi yangu itatoka tu ikiwa sawa. And they're like, hey, Janet is a performer. Janet is not, okay, Janet is a performer, but she masks herself to work so much when she wants to forget also a lot of things. Unaona? Alafu juu pia napenda vitu zangu ziki align. I have a weakness of delegating. I just better do it myself. So some things that are very important, I like to do them by myself. So also it was bringing growth for me in regards to my career, but people never knew that I'm actually a very damaged person. I'm masking myself there so that I just don't get to the house and I'll be all alone with my thoughts and just crying all the time. I enjoy the fact that my number one biggest blessing is my son. The fact that I can be a mother, I love it so much. I love it so much. I love being a mother. Me, I don't like to be called Janet. Niiteni Mama Abna. I like to be, I really love that side of me so much that I do it with so much grace and so much abundance. And also making sure that the environment I'm creating for my child is that of history not repeating itself. Because also we are living in a world where if people don't look at things very keenly, generations can really, really be broken. So I'm trying to also be that kind of a parent who makes the environment be totally conducive for my child so that they don't end up feeling like the parents failed them or I failed them as a mom. The way I solve issues, the way I handle myself, the way I speak, the way I think is because of all the things I've gone through and the things I'm trying to undo. Undo the things of separation that, my parents separated eventually. Trying to do things differently. I saw my parents handle things like this. I don't want to do that same mistake. How can I do it better? So that there won't be that notion of separation. There won't be that notion of chaos and my child saying, oh, I want my child to one day say, hey, Mimi nakwambia our home was the best. The point of giving thanks in the little things that you can do. The fact that I can walk is a miracle. Is a miracle. I started walking without crutches in 2024. I carried my whole pregnancy when I was on crutches. My whole pregnancy nilikuwa niko na mimba, niko na clutches, ni kutembea kama mama kona mimba na clutches na kai acha nikwambie nasikia kucheka saa ingine. But God's goodness is really amazing. Kumbe those clutches he knew nitawacha, lakini they needed to support me with the pregnancy. Unaona? Sasa God's timing is always the best. The fact that I can walk, I don't like when people don't appreciate little things as being healthy. Because that thing that seems so little, it's actually such big of a deal. Because when you are unhealthy, there's nothing you can do. So I appreciate health so much. And I like also to take care of the sick so much, with so much grace and compassion. Because I've been there, I know what it feels like, I know what they're going through. I'm those kind of people. I'm very good in customer service because I've gone through so much pain that even when, let's say, a patient is coming or someone is complaining, najuanga, you know, it's pain. They're having pain. There's so much happening in their lives also. And all this journey has helped me be the best also in my line of my career because I'm patient. That's why kila mtu, hey, Janet anakuanga mzuri kwa customer service, anakuanga mzuri. It's because also when a patient is complaining or doing what or yelling or what because of 1, 2, 3 things or what, I'm able to understand. This person is in pain. You know, this person is going through this. They're in the hospital. Maybe even the bill is not, they don't have it. They just have so much pressure. And that taught me a lot of patience with people. I'm able to be patient with my husband. I'm able to be patient with my parents. I'm able to be forgiving because I came to learn also when you harbor unforgiveness, it blocks a lot of for you. So I'm able to be very forgiving. I'm able to, I feel I'm the best version because of the things I went through. So I don't believe in ruling out the bad things that have happened in life. I believe in ruling them in as green flags that yes, this seemed like a bad season, but it brought this and I got to learn it. And because I got to learn this, is impacting my life in a good way and it's spreading out to the people around me.